Hi, I wanted to share our announcements project with you today, so I'm going to record the process I use to do this. I'm going to start over here in my drive. I create a form called announcements, and it's a simple form. You could use the word title. I was using it as the current announcement, so current, more information, and a link. Okay, and then the other file in here is, of course, the spreadsheet that gets created once you um, start to put in some form elements and collect some data. So we have the form, we have the spreadsheet, and we have a template. Now the template you build so that you can have Document Studio autofill this particular information. So you can build any kind of template you want. I have a template for all of my products. So just summarizing here, I have a template, I have a spreadsheet, I have a form, and then I create an announcements output folder. So I've created those things. I'm not going to spend time showing you how to do that piece, but over here, the next piece then is to run Document Studio. Now this is a copy, so I think some of these Document Studio files here might, in fact, I'm pretty sure that these need to go away. So I'm going to delete those. That was from my other copy. So I'm going to do a document merge. I'm going to select a template. The template that I have is my copy of announcements. That should be a copy of announcements template. And in there it finds current link, more information, and timestamp. So one of the things different about Document Studio, say, than Autocrat or Form Publisher is you actually use curly quotes instead of greater than, less than. I really like the way this works, as you can see as I build through this. Everything's in a sidebar, and it seems to be very reliable, very fast. So then I'm going to put in the merged file name, and the merged file name is going to be I'm going to use again, the curly quotes. So my file name is going to be called current. And it's going to output actually a Google document. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm not going to mail this out. I don't need to do that. It can send emails. I don't really even care about that in this actual instance. Then I want this file to upload the completed document to Google Drive, and I want it to be in my announcements copy output folder. So basically, going back here, I've selected my template. I'm not going to do any mail merge in this case. I don't need to do that. And then I'm going to generate files, and it could end up going to people if I wanted to mail it, but I don't need to. I'm uploading that, and I've already selected my folder. I don't need to share this file with anyone else, and I save configuration. And right now, I don't have anything to merge, but I do want it to merge on form submit. So if I save the settings, there's nothing to merge, but I think when you see this building, it's going to rebuild these file statuses here. So now, when I go ahead and run this and collect some data on my copy, I'll go to my live form. And when I do that, let's say that my live form, I'm collecting some data, and my new thing is announcements. And I have some information, how to make announcements. And then the link could be a link to a web page. In my case, what I did was go out here to my announcements page, and I think I have a link there of this one, and I go ahead and grab that, and on the form then, as I fill that out, this one here, I go ahead and paste that in. I go ahead and submit that, and if you look very carefully here, I've selected and created a new row of data. Now this was a copy, so it didn't autofill some of that information there. But if we come back here and look at my announcements copy output, there is my announcements, and basically that created that document. Okay, now the next step in this is to get Awesome Table to display this on my site. So we collect the data on this data sheet. This announcements sheet is this query that I use to let things drop away from announcements when they get dated. And in this case, I actually use these fields E and F. E is today. F is today minus 15 days. So everything within 15 days shows up. The query then, this long query goes ahead and says, hey, include everything between these two dates. Otherwise, tell me that there's no announcements today. So just to show you that if I change the date to, for instance, if I change the date to 3/17 tomorrow and come over here, there's no announcements. But if I change this back to today, then the announcements show up. So I like that feature because it lets me create announcements. They automatically get added to the website. I can fill them out from my phone, and then after whatever length you determine, they just drop off of the website. So that's the first place. So we collect the data. Announcements runs a query to let me dictate what announcements show up and drop off. And then this is the template that you need to include from Awesome Table. So this is my example of Awesome Table, and this is what the Awesome Table looks like. So if you haven't used Awesome Table, it's a fabulous product. I first select my data, my spreadsheet, and which range on that spreadsheet, and then I go ahead and I want it to be a cards with and in fact what I would do here, I would only keep it as, say, maybe a maximum of 5 columns and simply 1 row because this is just going to be a spot on my website. As far as formatting, I don't make any changes there, and as far as advanced parameters, you have to put in the template range, and that's that template over here that is on my spreadsheet. And that information I modified from, I believe, as I stated in the documentation, I modified from back here. I'm going to update this view before I go out of here, and then if I come back and take a look at it, I believe I used this training registrations template from Awesome Table and kind of grabbed it and did some modification of it. So again, going back here and looking at my copy of announcements, then with Awesome Table, what you do to make this show up is I'm in the view mode. So this is where I simply grab the URL and then I come over to my website. I believe I'm editing my website right here. And actually, what I'm going to do here is get rid of this component because that's my other real announcements. And I'm going to go ahead and put in this this URL. I'm using an embed code. Well, I'm using an embed URL. And I just go ahead and I go ahead and insert that. And rather than my announcements that are on the main part of my website, one thing I just noticed there, I just learned this today. You notice that there was a slight redirect. So it just came up momentarily. And if you want to avoid that, come back here and edit, and under share, embed, what you want to do instead is grab this code, this embed code, and then when you come here, we'll go ahead and delete that off. We double click embed, and this time we are using an embed code. We paste that, and we're putting in an iframe. And when we do that, we don't get the redirect code showing up there for a moment. So here we are. We actually now have my announcements. I go ahead and publish, and that is going to be on my website. and I'll finish putting all that information out here on the website. So let me go and see what that looks like. So what happens, you create a card, and every time I add an announcement, I'll have up to 5 on this row, and you can say I have 1 of 1. This would let me navigate through them. So the website link actually takes me directly back here because that's the link I put in. The document actually takes me to the document that got created, my announcements document, that I will then go in and modify all of the information on this announcements document and basically put in all the information that we have about this particular document. So right here is the one that we would end up wanting that to show up as. So then you come in here if you want to modify this as much as you want. So again, this video was explaining how I can actually get at the top of my website an announcements, set of announcements that let me see, number one, takes me to websites and or documents. So in this example, I was in Costa Rica, and so my website was basically a little link to a Google photo itinerary, and basically in this case my website is taking me over to a YouTube demonstration of something I had built here on my Data Studio intro. So the link can be basically, and that's not one I really want out there, I'll have to clean that up. So again, a feature you could use using a combination of Google Forms, Document Studio to create a document, and Awesome Table to build a card view of your announcements. Okay, so on my phone, I have sent myself this message with a link to the form. I open the form up. On the form, I'm going to just type in something really quickly here and here. And then I actually saved a URL because it was a little bit easier to do very quickly. And then I just submit that. Now that information has been added to the Google sheet that I have. Okay. Now, because I'm in Safari, I can add this to my home screen and add it. And now my announcements is right there for me to continue to work on. So what I had just done a moment ago was to record something on my phone. I'm going to insert it into this video to show you how you can take and add these things to the phone. So I submitted several different things here, and they end up showing on my announcements. And they also then show up on my my web page that has recent announcements. So you'll see, because I've submitted several of these, so each one of these I just submitted. This takes me to a website, which takes me, the link I put in there was the head of that site, but the document that got created with Document Studio is right here, and it's called Her because I didn't spell it well, but it's automatically connected and created. Hope you enjoy this. It's a fun way to add an announcements feature to your new Google site.